Greetings, everyone. Welcome to Stardew Valley. I'm Kangaroo Coffee, and Kangaroo Court is now in session. Thank you so much for joining me today as we talk about spring crops. And that's a bream that Demetrius has sent us. That is not a spring crop, nor is this coconut, but those are still great things to have. All right, so today we're just going to go over spring crops, the good ones, the bad ones. There are really no bad ones, but we're just going to go over all of them and give you all the information you need in order to have a great spring season and to make the most of it. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first crop that we're going to learn about is the blue jazz. Now, the blue jazz is actually a great little crop. I think it's underrated. And basically, the great thing about the blue jazz is a couple of things. For one thing, it is useful in the recipe to make Lucky Lunch. And Lucky Lunch is a great recipe to know. You'll learn it at some point in the game, but in any event, Lucky Lunch is fantastic, and the blue jazz is one of the ingredients in that dish. So anyway, that is one of the reasons that you'll want some blue jazz. Also, they have a great profit margin. They sell for 37 gold at Joja Mart and 30 gold at Pierre's. And they only take 7 days to grow. And then they sell for 50 gold. And so that is really nice. So that gives you like a 20 gold, just about a 20 gold profit margin on every single one of those blue jazzes. So anyway, that's a really great benefit of them, and they're also pretty nutritious. They give you a good energy benefit as well. So that is definitely something to consider, growing the blue jazz and getting some of those benefits. Next up is the cauliflower. Now, the cauliflower is another crop that I quite enjoy. It's a very good one. The cauliflower is the only downside to it, really. Well, there's a couple downsides to it. One is that the seeds are pretty expensive. So the seeds that you get are 80 gold at Pierre's, 100 gold at Joja Mart, and so those are so that's pretty high for seeds, particularly if you're still in your first year and you don't have a whole lot of money yet. But they do have a good profit margin. So they sell for, the regular quality sells for 175 gold. And so silver quality is for 218 gold. And gold quality for 262 gold. So that is really, that's really the great benefit is you do get that really nice profit margin. Another downside is they do take a long time to grow. They take 12 days to grow to maturity, so you're not really going to get that many harvests over the course of one of the 28-day seasons in Stardew Valley in the spring season. So you really won't get a whole lot from that, but from what you do get, you will have a good profit margin. So that's definitely a good thing about cauliflower. Another good thing about cauliflower is that it is used in a few recipes. Cheese cauliflower, obviously. It's also a loved gift of Maru's, so if you are trying to become friends with or romance Maru, then the cauliflowers will be very helpful for you in doing that. So anyway, that's another good reason to have cauliflower. So anyway, it's also good for the spring crops bundle in the community center, so that's another good reason to go for some cauliflower. There's also a quest where Jody requests a cauliflower, so it just seems like there's always some kind of reason to have cauliflower lying around. So definitely want to grow some of that and sell some of it, and then keep some of it for the quests and for things like gifts, particularly from Maru. Oh, look at that! We have a meteor. Oh my goodness! All right, so next up is the coffee bean. And so the coffee bean is not available at Pierre's or at Joja Mart. It's only available either from the traveling cart or by killing dust sprites in the mines. And so dust sprites, I believe, have a 1% chance of dropping coffee beans. So that's a good way to find them. And so the coffee bean is helpful for one big reason, and that is making coffee. So here I have triple shot espresso, which is made from coffee, so indirectly from coffee beans, but the coffee beans produce coffee itself, and so coffee makes you go fast. That's the great thing about coffee. You move faster and can get things done faster in the game because the default pace of walking in Stardew Valley is pretty slow, particularly when you get used to to the coffee paste. So anyway, that's really the main use of the coffee bean, but it is pretty expensive. You get one coffee bean. You can buy one coffee bean from the traveling cart, and she charges 200 or 2,500 gold for that. So that's pretty pricey. So getting it from the Dust Sprites is the cheaper way to go, particularly early in the game whenever you don't have a whole lot of gold on you. Then that is a good way to go ahead and get the coffee beans. And so then those grow, and so they take 10 days to grow initially in the spring, and then after that they regrow every 2 days. But it takes 5 coffee beans to make 1 cup of coffee. So, it takes a while before you get enough coffee beans to really make a difference. So, I really kind of recommend holding off on coffee until you get, either the greenhouse so you can grow it year round and stock up, or until you get to Ginger Island so you can do that there as well. And so, anyway, definitely want to try to get your hands on those, and coffee is definitely a really nice thing to have in the game. Okay, next on our list is garlic. And so garlic is it's been a while since we've been in here apparently. But garlic is a good crop in the game because it is profitable. It's only 40 gold to buy it at Pierre's. The only problem is that it's not available during your first year. So unfortunately, during your first year, you will need to do without garlic. But then after that, it's only 40 gold at Pierre's. And then it sells for 60 gold for regular quality, 75 for silver, and 90 for gold quality. So that's a pretty decent profit margin there on garlic. It can be eaten as food for a very small energy and health benefit, basically nothing. So it's really not worth doing that with. But, it is used to make escargot, fiddlehead risotto, and oil of garlic. And so those are helpful items in the game, and definitely worth going ahead and growing a little bit of garlic once you get into year 2 and it's available at Pierre's. So that's definitely something I recommend doing. The next crop on our list for spring is the green bean, the mighty green bean. And so I like the green bean. Green bean is a good one. It is only 60 gold at Pierre's and 75 at Joja Mart, so that's one you definitely want to make sure you get at Pierre's. And so it's 10 days to grow the green beans initially, but then after that it is only 3 days for them to regrow. So you will get a good many green beans over the course of a season. It's used to make bean hot pot, which is great because it provides a good permanent energy boost. And so that is one really nice thing about growing green beans. And it is also used in the spring crops bundle. And so, like I said, it sells for 60 gold. You buy it for 60 gold, excuse me. But it sells for only 40, 50, and 60 gold, depending on the quality. So it sells for less than what it costs. However, it does produce, multiple times over the course of a season. So, I think it's still definitely worthwhile. And plus, it is useful in those good recipes, or at least in the bean hot pot recipe. All right, next on our list is kale. So kale is available at Pierre's for 70 gold, and at Joja Mart for 87 gold. It takes 6 days to grow and sells for 110 gold, 137 gold, and 165 gold for regular silver and gold quality, respectively. And it's also used to cook the salmon dinner, and so that is a very helpful thing to have if you are wanting to romance or become friends with Alex, because the salmon dinner is one of his few liked or loved gifts. And it's also used to make stir fry. So kale is definitely a good thing to include in your rotation of crops, and it does have a good profit margin since it does sell for 110, 137, or 165 gold. And something I do want to mention real quick is that I am going to be using some images from the Stardew Valley wiki. And so in those images you might see some values for iridium quality crops. And so it is true that there are iridium quality crops in the game, but you cannot get them unless you get the deluxe fertilizer, which can only be obtained from Mr. Key quite late in the game. So anyway, don't worry about those values for now if you're not at the point in the game where you're talking to Mr. Key. And just worry about the values for regular silver and gold for now. Okay, so next up on our list is the great parsnip. As you can see here, we appropriately have a parsnip available from our Statue of Infinite Fortune here. And the parsnip is a great crop. As most of you are aware, is the very first crop that you grow in the game. You get it from Mayor Lewis right at the start. And and you can buy it at Pierre's for 20 gold or 25 gold at Joja Mart, and sells another one another one that sells at a decent profit margin. It's at so you can sell parsnips for 35 gold for regular quality, 43 gold for silver quality, and 52 gold for gold quality. And so that's really good. Those are pretty good profit margins. It grows quickly, only in 4 days, and it has quite a few uses. There's the parsnip soup. It's a loved gift of Pam's, and so that's one really nice thing about it is it's a good gift to give Pam that doesn't influence her in the wrong direction. So if you don't want to give Pam a bunch of beer, if you're trying to get with Penny or something like that, then parsnip is a good alternative for Pam. And also, the parsnip is used in two bundles in the community center. There's a spring crops bundle, and gold quality parsnips are needed for the quality crops bundle. So anyway, that is so those are another couple uses for the parsnip. All right, so let's sell some of this stuff real quick here. Make a little room in our inventory. Wow, we got a lot of slime since we hadn't been in there in a while. So we'll just clear out some of this stuff real quick here, and then we'll move on with our list. We'll go to bed here real quick so that we don't pass out on our farm. It's just not a good look. All right, to sleep we go. All right, so next I want to talk about potatoes. So potatoes are probably my favorite of the starting crops in Stardew Valley. They are 50 gold at Pierre's, 62 at Joja. Take 6 days to grow, and the great thing about potatoes is that there's a chance for multiple potatoes at harvest. So, and the chances are pretty good. I'm not sure exactly what the chances are. I'll put that up on the screen, but in any event, those chances are pretty decent because you do get multiple potatoes pretty often, it seems like, whenever you're harvesting them. So the seeds are pretty cheap. You get a lot of yield, and it doesn't take very long for them to grow. They sell for 80 gold, 100 gold, and 120 gold for regular silver and gold qualities. And they're used to make hash browns, and, who doesn't love hash browns? Oh, thank you, Robin. And they're also used in the spring crops bundle in the community center. So that is another good use of the potato. Next up on our list is the rhubarb. As you can tell probably by now, I'm just going in alphabetical order. This isn't a top 10 list or anything like that. But the rhubarb is an interesting one. That's another one that you cannot get at Pierre's or Joja Mart. You have to get it at the Oasis shop, which is Sandy's shop in the desert. So if you don't have access to the desert yet, then I don't think there's any way for you to be able to get rhubarb. It takes 13 days to grow. Really good profit margin. It's 100 gold to purchase, so it's pretty expensive, but regular quality sells for 220 gold, silver quality for 275 gold, and gold quality for 330 gold. So that is not too bad. It's also used in rhubarb pie, and of course that is delicious. Next up is the strawberry. So I want to talk a little bit about strawberries. I like strawberries. I am not anti-strawberry in this game, but I do think the strawberries are maybe just a little bit over-recommended, just a little bit overrated. And I'll explain why. So strawberries are only available at Pierre's stand at the Egg Festival. And so that occurs on the 13th of spring. And so, strawberries are obviously a spring crop. So you can't get them before spring 13. And so that means that there will be not really that much time in the spring season for you to be able to produce strawberries. In fact, best case scenario, if you get them on the day of the spring festival, which is what you have to do on the day of the egg festival, so spring 13, if you get them that day and you put them in the ground that day, so you plant them on spring 13 or on spring 14, then you can get 2 crops of strawberries in the season. Otherwise, you only get 1 crop for the whole season, and I just don't think that's very good. It's also not the best profit margin ever. I mean, we're talking about 100 gold for every strawberry seed. And so you can only get them at the egg festival, like I said, at Pierre's stand, 100 gold each. On spring 13, they sell for 120 gold, 150 gold, and 180 gold. So if you get a lot of high quality ones, then certainly you can make a good bit of money. And if you're already doing pretty well on spring 13 of year 1, then you can go ahead and get a bunch of them. Now, strawberries are probably more useful in year 2 when you have a little bit more money and you can get more of them, and then it's probably a better thing to do. But in year 1, get a few. I think it's probably a good thing if you can afford them, but I don't think it's really the path to instant riches that people seem to sometimes imply that it is. But strawberries are great for a few reasons. I mean, obviously you can make wine out of them or preserves. And then also they are loved gifts for Demetrius and Maru. So they do have some uses, and they're certainly not a bad thing. But I do think that maybe they are a teensy bit overrated. I think that really in the early game, parsnips and potatoes particularly, I think are some of the best ones. And then also blue jazz. I think that the flowers are a bit underrated, and particularly the blue jazz, because it does have that use in Lucky Lunch, and it does have a good profit margin. So next up on our list is the tulip. All right, so tulips are great because, for one thing, the bulbs are very affordable, very inexpensive, and so it's still it's not a very high selling thing, so it's not the most profitable of the crops probably, but tulips are 20 gold at Pierre's for a bulb, and 25 for a bulb at Jojamart. They take 6 days to grow, and one nice benefit of tulips is that they can be eaten as food, and they give you a really nice energy benefit. So you get plus 45 energy, which is great, particularly early on in the game. So tulips can work as a pretty decent early game food source, and so that's definitely something to consider. And so, even if they're not the most profitable thing, but they are reasonably profitable, particularly considering that, they sell for 30 gold for the regular quality, 37 gold for silver quality, and 45 for gold quality. So, if you're using good fertilizer and you're getting a lot of good quality tulips, then, you could make a good bit of money from them. All right, so last on our list today is unmilled rice. So unmilled rice is one of the least impressive items in the game, in my opinion. It is available for, hello Shane, it is available for 40 gold at Pierre's, and it can be grown in 8 days without irrigation. So if it's not near some kind of water source, then it'll take 8 days. If it is within, I don't know, I think 3 blocks of a water source, then, it'll be considered to be irrigated and will certainly grow a little faster within 6 days that way. So without irrigation, it's 8 days. With irrigation, it's 6 days. The thing is, it sells for only 30 gold for regular quality, 37 for silver, and 45 for gold. And so, like I said, it's 40 gold to buy the rice shoot, which is what unmilled rice comes from. So 40 gold for the rice shoot, and then the unmilled rice that results from it sells for, only 30, 37, or 45 gold. It can be eaten for a tiny amount of energy and health, really not worth it. The main use it has is to be milled into rice. I have here a mill. I have used it rarely. It does save money, I guess, to mill the unmilled rice into rice instead of buying the rice at Pierre's. But, I have more money than I know what to do with at this point in the game, so I just buy the rice from Pierre's, and I more or less never use this thing. And so anyway, I'm not sure if other players have that same experience, but in any event, you know, the unmilled rice, to me is not much good, and then the milled rice is only used for just a little bit more, but at least that is useful in some recipes, and the milled rice can be sold for 100 gold. So anyway, those are just some facts about the spring crops. I hope that information was helpful for you. Basically the takeaway is that I think that strawberries are a little overrated, but I don't think they're a bad thing. I think it's a good thing to focus on potatoes, parsnips, and blue jazz during the spring. And otherwise, grow whatever you want, right? I mean, it's not all about what makes the most money or anything like that. If you like another crop that's not as profitable and you just want to grow it, then go right ahead, right? There's no problem with that. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you tuning in. Please like and subscribe if you like this video. I'd really appreciate it. And with that, I'm Kangaroo Coffee, and Kangaroo Court is now adjourned. Hope to see you in the next video. Bye-bye.